psychological problems and interpersonal problems of living. Group members often have acute or chronic mental or emotional problems that evidence marked distress, impairment in functioning, or both. Because the depth and extent of psychological disturbance is significant, the goal is to aid each individual in reconstructing major personality dimensions. Still?
Yeah.
Can we all see? So the other point is saying group members often have acute or chronic mental or emotional problems, and the depth and extent of the psychological problems is deep. So often each individual needs help to get back to their well-functioning selves. So this can be therapy groups where a licensed therapist is the leader of the group. So often people participate in group psychotherapy because they have to reduce specific symptoms of or psychological problems such as depression, sexual harassment, eating disorders, anxiety, or psychosomatic disorders. Okay, let me look here. So what other examples can you think of people who would be included in such groups? Those who are going through grief. What else? Oh, what are the examples of people who can be involved in such groups? Apart from those who have been through sexual abuse, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, drug and substance abuse, or those who are grief-stricken. Yeah, that should fall under drug and substance abuse. Yeah. So a variety of therapy groups can be found in community mental health agencies or community health centers, including group therapy for domestic violence offenders, therapy groups, and have particular relevance for people who are working through reactions pertaining to death and loss. So you can have groups on either categories, drug and substance, domestic violence, or grief, or sexual abuse, or eating disorders. Eating disorders should be more apparent in the first world countries other than here in third world countries, because there they have abundance of food, junk food, so people usually tend to abuse the food around them, their eating habits. So that's on the last group, psychotherapy group. Let us go to a multicultural perspective on group work. So I believe that all of us come from different tribes. Different tribes here in Malawi. But we're all here together, working together, with group discussions, we're friends. And then, do you think your background or your culture, where you come from, can impact on how you work in groups? Do you think your background or your culture, where you come from, can have an effect on how you work together as a group. So what are some of the ways in which culture has impact in how we work together as a group? Can it help us come together or can it bring conflict? What are your opinions?
I think at first it's always conflict until you come on an issue, an agreement. Because we all know it's a multicultural, so if you want to come up with one thing, it will always be conflict unless you have rules.
So, being people of different cultures or backgrounds can bring conflicts, but we need to have rules. What else? Another opinion you're saying?
Oh, I think as a group, we can have different beliefs. Yeah, causing them to disagree or something. Just the back of the line.
So our beliefs can bring conflict. What else? What are our examples of the beliefs or anything? What do we think culture can do? How about a positive? Yes.
I think the difference of cultures it's somehow we also have to come out with different ideas which will be
Yes, so being different can also have an advantage. You bring in different ideas which will make the group interesting. You have something new come out. What else?
The others get to learn new things from others.
True. So that's like half, two negatives, two positives. What do you think? What else?
Groups can help members to change their mindset. The way they used to think, how the groups operates, they will keep on learning, the way they were thinking and the way they are doing their things in the group, it's different.
So that means being multicultural is the positive side is outweighing the negatives. So you're saying groups can open up your mindset to new things, can change your mindset. So having people from different cultures come together is not actually a bad thing. Shouldn't only bring conflict, it can also bring positives. So as a social worker, how can we handle being in a group with different cultures or different people coming from different backgrounds?
as a social worker. I think you just have to understand that people are different and you have to respect that. And then once you respect that, you create that creation thing that everybody is going to respect each other so that they can work together.
And then at that point, that's where we have rules. Yeah, because people, you understand that people are different and they have different backgrounds, they have different cultures. They just can't go with whatever is happening if there's no rule. But then if there are rules in that group, then everyone will try to live to the standard of the group so that they should not break the rules. And then by that they'll be united, not like,
Yeah, so it goes back to the rules, and it also hinges on respect, that we have to respect each other, where we're coming from. What about your own cultural beliefs? How do you think they should be, how should you operate in a group with your own beliefs? Since you're the one leading here, so you have your own beliefs, you have your own background, religion. You know, religion is something, for example, religion is something that can cause a lot of conflict. In a group, you have a Muslim, you have a Christian, and you have somebody else. So, because of that, let's say you're there, a social worker, and you have a different opinion because of your religion. How do you think you should act in that case?
I think he should just be open-minded to hear out from others.
Apart from being open-minded, you shouldn't take sides whether you're a Muslim. You are a social worker, you are representing both, so you don't have to take sides whether you're a Muslim. You just have to act on both.
Yes, very true.
And it should also come with respect. If you respect the others, the other people's views, and also them, they should respect your views.
Okay. Do you have something? Alright. So we can see that as a social worker, we have to be independent of our beliefs or our religion. We have to make sure that whatever we're representing we should not force people because we have certain beliefs about something. So it hinges on the fact that even though you're respecting the people, their beliefs and so on, but you also have to make sure that you're not influencing them because of your own beliefs. So let us first look at the term culture. So, culture, the definition for culture. This comprises of beliefs, values, and behaviors shared by a group of people. So this might mean that it's not only for culture, does not only mean it's for ethnic or social reference, but it will also refer to groups identified by age, gender, sexual identity, religion, or their socioeconomic status. So people of a similar age might behave in a similar way, so they can have their own culture. Or people of the same gender behaving in a similar way can have their own beliefs, values, and behaviors. Same with their sexual identity, religion, or socioeconomic status. So people of status or socioeconomic status can have in a similar way in terms of their beliefs, behaviors, and values, other than people of another socioeconomic status, higher or lower. So culture can be defined like that. So culture might influence you as a social worker or as a group leader, and the group also, or the clients, whether you like it or not, whether you can be aware of it or not. But it doesn't mean that it has to create conflict in the group. No, it can, because culture can also bring people together. So effective, so some points on the multicultural perspective. Are we done with this? So as I was saying, even though culture is a very delicate subject, but it can also be very effective in bringing the group together. So effective group work considers the culture of the participants. So as a group, social group worker, you have to make sure that you know the culture of your participants. You know where they're coming from. You are knowledgeable and you have the skills to deal with such a culture. So for example, Gary, if you're working in Mangochi, so you know their eating habits, their way of dressing, how women and men interact with each other. That would be very helpful for you to work easily with the people there. During so you dress in a similar manner, you cover yourself up. Not necessarily move exactly like them, but you just make sure to be respectable, presentable in front of them. And the other one is saying practitioners cannot afford to ignore diversity in group work. So if your group is comprised of different people from different backgrounds, you need to recognize that. And so if you recognize that, you're able to respect everybody in the group according to whatever cultural background they come from. And the other thing is that group workers must have awareness, knowledge, and skills to effectively deal with diversity in the group. And the cultural similarities and differences need to be addressed in a group. So for you to address the differences and similarities, that's where the rules and norms of the group come in. That's why you make sure that everybody is on board, you agree on the rules and regulations, that this is how the group is to perform. So it's not about you enforcing rules on the group, but it's about making rules that everybody can work with. That makes sense also. So, for example, if you're having field work, you're working in the village as a lady, what are some of the basic requirements? How are you supposed to look?
How are you supposed to look?
Dress. You're working in the field, guy,
To dress.
to dress.
Professionally. Decently.
Yeah, so your rubber is very important, yes. So for people to take you seriously, you have to also look the parts. So if you're working in the field, normally noting the sun, a head wrap, yes, and you make sure that your nails or your makeup is not too much. Otherwise, people may not take you seriously for what you're saying. Not for guys. What is the basic? What are you working in the field? How are you supposed to dress?
Some of those things.
T-shirt and jackets.
But working in the field doesn't mean you have to look as if you're big or something.
No.
You have to avoid the expectation. Things that you're used.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to
Anyway, they should know we were professional.
Okay, you don't have to use things that worn out. You can wear a wrapper, that's just good. And the wrapper might look different from them.
But then is it a must to
Yeah.
No, you can wear a long skirt or a nice trouser. It's fine.
You can just go there, you're talking to people in the village.
She's nice. All makeup and all. No, we're not saying about it should be a full makeup. It can be simple. Can be. Suppose I have no, should I remove the voice I'm going to move?
No, you don't have to, but then you don't have to be doing like
That's why I say simple is okay. You can change how you dress for people.
Yes.
You can dress in a simple way that people should know. You're
Just
also a profession.
be smart and decent.
As much as you're a profession, you are adjusting to their kind of living. Be you for you. It's not a way of me adjusting.
Because we also adjust that I'm living a different life from them.
Exactly. You are adjusting, they will adjust. Of course. They should first adjust.
They should adjust.
How long will they go back?
It's not like me, I don't have to change the way I dress just because I'm going to.
No, I'm not saying
I go there, I explain to them the kind of way that I'm living, they should also accept. And I also respect their
understand.
So we are saying you can go there.
You're trying to tell them
this. You will talk to them, you are teaching them, they will adjust to you. As you are also learning from them how they think. That's what we need.
But the dressing part now.
Dressing code is just simple, smart.
This one is saying you.
Not sure.
What for?
Oh. You think you can dress smartly? Not the rapper.
That's trousers, decent trousers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not saying anything.
So yeah, you can dress smartly, but also you have to remember, as a group, social group worker, you have to accustom yourself to their norms. So you shouldn't dress out of the ordinary. Make sure that you're not revealing. As Malawians, we dress not to reveal, not to show off in any way. Come in other countries, it's okay if you're revealing. As long as you're looking presentable, it's okay.
If they find you office, show them. That's my office.
Of course.
Outside, I'm smart. In my office, hey,
A different person.
yes. I'm in my office, not outside.
So yeah, if they're meeting you in your office, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But if you're meeting them in their setup, then you have to make sure that you adjust not to look out of the ordinary. They understand who we do, but it doesn't mean we are oblivious or we don't know our culture in Malawi. So that's just a simple topic dressing. Some of the other things, they're more specific to whatever field you're working in. So, as a group counselor, we should strive to understand some ways that issues pertaining to gender and sexual orientation can be productively explored within the group. So there are some sensitive issues we have to talk about in the group. So we have to make sure that we're using the right terminology and we're also having the right group members in that group. If you want to talk about something specific for women, it means exclude the men in the group so that the women are comfortable enough to open up. And another point, as a group counselor, we have to consider the impact of diverse social, environmental, and political factors in assessing problems and designing interventions. So that means, for example, one of the things you're advised about the field is not to talk about your political football preferences because that usually creates conflict. If you're creating conflict, they will not be able to listen to whatever you're saying because that is any other political party. So you have to make sure that you understand the diverse social, environmental, political factors, but you are not contributing to the conflict. And the other thing is you respect the roles of family and community hierarchies within a client's culture. So this means that you respect, for example, here in Malawi, the order is like the man comes first and then the woman and then the children. Although there is that order, there is need for gender equality or equity. So despite we mentally have that order, by and by, if you're coming in to change how people think, first of all, you have to respect whatever they have in that community. And then you try to change their mindset, this is how things are supposed to be. Both men and women can work in domestic chores. Both the girl child and the boy child can help each other in domestic chores. Because in the end, you both love the children, so you want your kids to prosper. So by and by, you can get to change their mindset, but you have to respect the roles of family and community. You respect the hierarchy, the leadership in that community, the village chief, the group head, and so on and so forth. So usually, for example, when you want to collect data on something in the field, and you say it's an organization, usually maybe a group, and then to the village chief, we want to do this and that. Because sometimes there are stories, if you just go straight to the households, magical things can happen. Yes, there was that. And when I was only by seeing the chief is not happy with you, they find out without paying respect to him. They can chase you away in the best scenario, or something magical happens. I remember because there was a story. I did not that they did anything wrong. I know they did something, but there was one guy, and I was he got stuck in the village. So although those things are extreme, we just have to respect whatever is happening, the hierarchies, the leadership in that community.
Don't even have to give it a shot.
Of course. And then the other point is that respect members' religious and spiritual beliefs and values. So I think we already talked on this. And then assist members in determining when their difficulties stem from others, racism or bias, so that they do not internalize discrimination from their environment. So this means that you have to help people to open up their minds, that they should not be offended from the bias that is happening around them, so that they should not internalize whatever discrimination that is happening around them. So we have to assess whether the members, if they're feeling difficulties, if their difficulties are coming from if there is any racism or any bias around them, so that you can help to see whatever wrong is happening and help to address the problems that is happening from the root. And then the other point is inform members about basic values and expectations that are implicit in the group process, such as self-disclosure, reflecting on one's life, and taking risks. So as a group, we have to make sure that we're honest. So as a group counselor, you have to make sure that you're encouraging everybody to be honest, to be opening up whatever issues they have in the group, but always in a respectful manner. So that's on becoming a diversity group counselor. I think we just write down some of the points. So, becoming a diversity group counselor. So, he said a lot of things, but the key points for a group counselor, for her or him to work effectively in a diverse group, he or she should understand ways in which gender and sexual orientation issues can be productively explored and consider the impact of adverse social, environmental, and political factors in assessing problems, respect the role of family and community hierarchies, respect groups or the members' religious and spiritual beliefs and values, inform members about the basic values and expectations, and assist members in determining the root of their difficulties. Any questions so far?
I don't really know names. I'm to catch up on your name so that when I can 4 years old, I don't know, kind of wake up for that.
Queen Mainje. Queen Mainje. Any questions? And you are?
They call me Morgan Gray.
Morgan
Yeah, Morgan Gray.
Gray. Welcome to the class. So that's on how to effectively deal with a diverse group. So the other question I asked you was, what about your own beliefs? How can you manage your own beliefs in your group? So let us look at how, as a group worker, we can manage our own beliefs in a diverse group. I can wrap it up? No. So the first thing is to examine your own cultural and personal values to understand where you are at as a person. So you have to know yourself. First of all, you have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself. What kind of a person are you? Are you short-tempered? Are you hot-headed? Are you easily angered? Because that's one important factor if you're working in a group. Okay, we're done. And the other thing is identify the values and basic assumptions inherent in your theoretical approach to group work. So as a person, there are some things that we believe in, or our values that we don't realize really it's just us who believe in those things. Komano, they shape us. So you have to understand what are your basic values and assumptions that are inherent or are working in your theoretical approach to group work. And then learn about group interventions shown to be effective with specific cultural groups. So after you've known yourself, after you've understood your basic beliefs and values, you have to learn about the cultural beliefs of the groups or specific groups that you're working with, or any other. And identify specific situations where your personal or theoretical values, views, beliefs might be in conflict with the values of people from diverse backgrounds. And you have to avoid imposing your worldview on members of your groups. And then identify situations in which you might need supervision or consultation in working with your biases or views, or in which you may need assistance. So just because you're a social worker doesn't mean you have to take it all. There are some instances where you might need help with some topics, for example. When you're a male and you think if your group, maybe it needs a female social group worker to come in and talk to the group. Maybe there's a perspective you might want to that. They're not really opening up. So you have to identify situations in which you think or you need assistance. It's not your specialty, admit to that and invite somebody who is specializing in that to help the group. And find a list of sources where you can acquire information about different cultures and potential conflicts related to group work. So basically, you have to be skilled and knowledgeable for you to work in groups. So you have to learn about the different cultures. But make sure that the sources you're learning from are valid sources, legitimate sources. So that's basically on multicultural perspective on groups. What you need to do to work in a diverse group and what you need to do to work on yourself so that you're able to work in a diverse group. But what are the characteristics of a group counselor? What are some of the personal characteristics for a group counselor to have to be an effective group leader? So generally, what do we think are some of the personal characteristics a good leader can have? For example, courage. What else? Yeah, what else? What else?
Knowledge of human
Be assertive.
Huh?
To be assertive.
I think you've said enough. Who else? Or anything as a person, characteristics of a good person. Not like that. A good leader. Confidential. Yeah. What else? Because some of these things, I'm sure you're going to be writing down. I am what? I'm well knowledgeable. I'm a person of respect, high integrity, honesty. What else? Traits of a good leader. So we're going to look at some of the traits. I'm pretty sure the list is endless. So as we know, a group counselor is one of the very most significant person influencing the group's success or failure. So in light of that, we have to understand, as a group counselor, what are some of the good characteristics that can make the group succeed. So I've mentioned a good number of them, but there are also some others whom we haven't mentioned, but they're on the list. For example, we have to be willing to model. And you have to be present. You're the one leading the group. You can't be daydreaming or not in the presence of the group, but you have to be present. Listen at everything that everybody's saying, yes. Very important.
And listening or good communication.
Willingness to model and
Adding willingness to model and to listen with good communication skills.
like another one. Another one is goodwill, genuineness, and caring. And you also have to be non-defensive in coping with criticism.
Also, as it is a counseling group, I think the leader has to understand and share the feelings of one another and make sure to enter.
So yeah, the first one I read was courage. So courage is a critical personal trait of an effective group leader. Courage is demonstrated through your willingness to be vulnerable at times, admitting mistakes and imperfections, and taking the same risks you expect group members to take. So the other point is to confront others, but to stay present with them as you work out conflicts. And the last one is to act on your beliefs and hunches and to be emotionally affected by others. So courage is a tricky one because there is a thin line between being courageous and acting stupidly. However, as a group leader, you have to demonstrate courage in such a way that if you're asking them to do something, make sure that you're asking something that you yourself can also do. So that means you have to be vulnerable at times. We're done writing that, right?
Yeah.
So courage can mean a lot of things. But the first one is saying you have to be vulnerable at times. So vulnerability means if you're asking something of them to do, it's something that you yourself cannot do, then you're not being vulnerable. But you have to ask them to do something which you yourself can also do. So vulnerability. And the second one is to confront others, but to stay present with them. So because in a social group, you want to change attitudes or beliefs of people or their behaviors, it means you have to confront them about the difficult things. You're like attacking them, but you're doing this respectively, and you're also doing this constructively. So you have to confront them, but stay present with them. Realize who they are, whatever question you're asking of them, how they're reacting to it, and if the emotions are getting heated, then you make sure that things come back to normal. So you confront others, but to stay present with them, to stay present with their emotions, to know how they're feeling. And the other one is to act on your hunches with wisdom. So this means that as a group counselor, you might, through experience, you might have some intuition, but in this situation, I think this is what is happening exactly. So with this, I have to take this step and that step. So you have to act on your intuition, but you have to make sure you're acting on your intuition with wisdom. So the other one is to be emotionally affected by others. So I think that's in relation to confronting them. You have to be emotionally aware of what is happening. You don't have to take your emotions out of the group. Just because you're a normal person, their lives don't really matter to you. So you're just acting in any way or talking in any way. No. But you have to make sure that your emotions, you're also relating to the emotions that the group members are feeling, so that you're able to effectively bring about an intervention. And you have to be direct and honest, respectively. So because you want people to change, and change is not easy, you have to make sure whatever direct things you're doing or whatever way you're confronting them, you have to be respectful. I think a lot of things are going to hinge on being respectful. And the next one is willingness to model. So one of the best ways to teach desired behavior is by modeling them in the group. So even with parents, the second, or the last point. Oh yes, the second point is willingness to model. So this means that one of the best ways for you to teach somebody a certain behavior is for them to see you do it. For example, parents, when they want to teach in a positive way, because we know that they just beat us up, but then they can use also negative reinforcement. In a positive way, if you want to teach mwana kuriga samba manja, is by first you demonstrating that before we eat, we wash our hands. So that's just one of the simple examples. So similarly, in a group, you can also model whatever behavior you want your group members to learn. So through your behaviors and attitudes conveyed by them, you can create such group norms as openness, seriousness of purpose, acceptance of others, respect for a diversity of values, and desirability of taking risks. So I think he is very much effective with people who are willing to learn from you. So I don't know. What else do you think can be an example or anything, any point to add on to the willingness to model? How can a group worker or social group worker model behavior? What are some of the behaviors we can model and when as leaders?
I think on the willingness to model we can add people-oriented, whereby as a group leader, a social worker, you are not supposed to look down on yourself, and you are not supposed to work in isolation. Hence, you are supposed to work with the groups.
So as she was saying, one of the things you can do is to be confident, don't look down on yourself, and work with the group. Don't work in isolation. Another thing is that you have to be open. Yes.
I think we should also set an example. We should be the first one to start it so that we should go to the next. If you say coding, we don't take sides, we should be the first one to take sides.
So the other thing is you're not taking sides as an example, or you set examples of the things that you're talking about. So disclosing your reactions. Another thing is that you have to disclose your reactions or how you're feeling to members' behavior and sharing your perceptions. This provides feedback that the person may find very helpful. For example, consider a member who talks a great deal yet leaves out how she's feeling. You might say, as I listen to you, I am not sure what you want us to hear. I wonder what you're feeling and what you're aware in your body as you are telling your story. When your group member talks a lot but says very little, other group members may no longer listen to this person. So that's all. Disclosing your openness. So you have to be open on the reactions. For example, at Mugambira an issue, it's a women's group. No problems, but yet you're in a group for domestic violence. So you have to encourage the member to open up. You can even say, I think you're saying a lot of but what are some of the things that you feel are going wrong with your house, so that the person can be able to open up. So you encourage opening up, and you yourself, you have to open up to the members on what you're thinking or what you're feeling around them. But this opening up should always be in line with achieving the group goals. So the other one was, the third point was presence. So presence. Presence can mean a lot of things. But generally it means being affected by others' pain, struggles and joy. How to be present? You are being present by listening. You're listening to whatever the group members are saying. So you being affected by others' pain, joy and struggles can be overwhelming. Komano as a group leader, we should not be overwhelmed with the pain or struggles or joy that the group members are sharing. However, we should be fully attentive. We should just be fully attentive, not overwhelmed. When somebody is sharing how they lost their loved ones, now it's one leader, no, you're being overwhelmed. You should take yourself out of the situation and just be attentive. So you become more emotionally involved with others by paying close attention to your own reactions. This does not mean that you necessarily talk about the situation in your own life that caused you the pain or evoked the anger. It means that you allow yourself to experience these feelings even just for a few moments. Fully experiencing emotions gives you ability to be compassionate and empathetic with others. As you are moved by their experience, it is equally important to maintain your boundaries and avoid the trap of over-identifying with your client's situation. To increase your ability to be present, spend some time alone before leading a group and block out distractions as much as possible. Prepare yourself by thinking about the people in the group and about how you might increase your involvement with them. So with presence, you have to make sure that you are listening to whatever the group members are saying, but how you prepare yourself is by thinking of how you shall attain the goal for that day, for the group session that you have. So always be attentive to whatever people are saying, but make sure that you're not being overwhelmed by the emotions. So the other one is goodwill, geniusness, and caring. This is the fourth one.
These are all points under courage.
No. The personal characteristics. So, goodwill. Goodwill, what's the pronunciation for this one? I think I'm missing it. Genuineness, yes. And caring. So this means you have to be showing a sincere interest in the welfare of others. So caring involves respecting, trusting, and valuing people. You can achieve this by encouraging members to participate and allowing them to decide how far to go in opening up. Or you can do this by showing warmth and support and concern for the members. But if you do not feel the warmth or concern for the members, then you have to be respectful. That's how you can show that you're caring, you have a goodwill, and you're being genuine. So the other one is belief. The fifth point, belief in group process. This says that we believe that a group confidence in the value of group process is positively related to constructive outcomes. So a deep confidence in the value of group process is related to constructive outcomes. You need to believe that in what you need to believe in what you're doing and trust the therapeutic process in a group. We are convinced that our enthusiasm and convictions are powerful both in attracting a clientele and in providing incentive work. So I don't know if you remember, but in the first class we defined what group process is. What is group process? Who can remind us? Group process. We defined what group process is. We don't remember. I also have forgotten. All elements that are what?
All elements that are based on
All elements that are okay, from the formation of the fruit at the end. So, did we say anything else? Did we list some of the examples?
Yes. It's like following your goals, what you made to achieve that goal. So, until you make that goal.
So it's like you created a plan with your group. This is how we're going to operate. This is what we want to achieve. So this is just saying that trust the process.
Yeah.
So you have to have a deep confidence in the value of the group process. So for today we're going to stop on the openness. But any questions on this? So openness means that the other point, the sixth is openness. This means that you reveal enough of yourself to give the participants a sense of who you are as a person. It does not mean that you reveal every aspect of your personal life. Your being open can enhance group process if you appropriately review your reactions to the members and how you are being affected by them. Your openness can foster a corresponding spirit of openness within the group. It will enable members to become more open about their feelings, beliefs, and it will lead to fluidity to the group. So I think we said much on openness, that as a group leader, you also have to be open, but not too much. Only reveal those specific, important details about yourself. The things that can help the members to relate to you. The things that will help them to open up to you. Believe they can trust you, you're an understanding person, you're not judgmental. So if you're open, it will help everybody else in the group to also be open, and this will foster yes, and constructive, and achieving a constructive outcome. So for example, in the classroom setup, we were open about where we're coming from, what year we are in, what semester, just the relevant details. Our names, and so on and so forth. So depending on the type of group you're in, you can be open about your religion. We not know say you're coming from the same background, from if it's a diverse group or you have different political interests. You may not want to be opening up about such details because it will create a conflict in the group. So next week we will continue on the personal characteristics. There are quite a number of them. So we shall look at all of them. Any questions so far? How is the assignment going?
So far, so good.
If you don't understand any parts, you can ask me.
Okay.
But,
It's a number.
yeah, my number is in the group.
I'll give you.
Yes, but make sure that you submit by then, the 16th.